Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Camille Majdali.
We've been enjoying the journey and unpacking what it is to understand the culture war. And that means understanding two sides of a culture war, perhaps the left and the right. The left being a progressive side, the right being a conservative side. Camille, you've been endeavouring to break down an easy comparison as to how we understand how each side thinks. What's a good way of doing that in a nutshell?
I actually compiled a list of issues contrasting the left-leaning progressives with the right-leaning conservatives. And there's so many differences. It's amazing. Dozens of them. But one of them I'd like to start out with has to do with their attitude towards globalism versus nationalism. Both these things have their advantages and both of them have their disadvantages. But by and large, it appears to me that progressives very much are globalists in that they're looking to global governance, new world order, one world government. Now, not all of them think in that terms, but I do believe many of the movers and shakers are in that category. Look at the European Union, where they want to understandably avoid more world wars because 2 world wars ravaged across Europe, and they want to grow prosperous together as a community. So that's why you have the European Union. Part of the price of the union, though, is that national sovereignty of the individual member nations is eroded in the process. Whereas with the conservatives, they are nationalistic. They put the interests of their nation state first. That is, of course, one of the great features or notable features of Donald Trump, U.S. president. He wants to make America great, and he's very unabashed of putting America's national interests before all others. So Trump is a nationalist, whereas so many progressives are globalists.
So, as conservatives warn against the downside of globalism, there is a warning that comes from the progressives also about becoming too nationalistic. Both sides, as you say, have a point to make.
Well, it is viewed that nationalism is what caused the Great War, or what we know as the First World War. How correct that is, I'm not sure, because remember that there were empires ruling Europe at the time of the Great War. Individual nation states weren't so prominent. Nationalism can be a problem when it's aggressive and it's totalitarian, or it's non-democratic, I should say. But when it's a nation state that is rooted in fundamental democratic principles and believes in peacemaking and peacekeeping, that doesn't seem like much of a threat. I guess, it'd be like in Australia, if we didn't have the states and Canberra ran everything, would we be better off than what we are now? And I think many would agree we would not. The more local you are, the more you're actually governing yourself. And the more centralized you are, the more others are doing the governing for you. And that in itself is a fundamental difference between the left and the right.
So when we say getting rid of the borders, that sounds like a nice concept for a global community, but what it does is it takes away the distinctives of our own culture. And if our culture then is eroded, then we lose that sense of identity.
Well, indeed we do, but more than that, if we go this pathway, as I just said earlier, we lose our sense of self-government. And when that happens, our freedom goes with it.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Camille Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Camille, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.